Calcutta is beautiful. Wherever you place a camera, you get a vision. This is exactly what we have tried portraying in this video. The city Kolkata, dipped in its nostalgia, topped with its lost transport, concerning the tram and the handpull rickshaw. We have brought out the essence of the lost transport system and how it has always remained intertwined with the running of the city. This transport system has not only played an eminent role in the city's functioning but has also been a witness throughout. It is utterly disheartening to acknowledge that we are losing such an eminent witness of the city, and it is just nostalgia and memories of it that we'll be left with.
Good afternoon, sir. We, the student of Institute of Hotel Management, Kolkata, under the guidelines of Ministry of Tourism, preparing a documentary. So, we want to ask you some questions, sir.
Yes, please. Go on.
So, what is the origin of tram?
Tram was conceptualized way back in 1870s as a mode to transport goods from Shialda station to Armenian Ghat via Dalhousie Square and Bovazar. So the route was started in 1873 in February, but due to lack of passengers and goods, it was closed down in November that year. But later, in 1880, Calcutta Tramways Company was registered in London, and the route was resumed again in 1881, and that's how the trams came into place, and it still continues to run today.
Okay, sir. So, how was the tram route planned?
The tram route was thus planned from Shialda to Armenian Ghat via Bolbazar and Dalhousie because there had been a lot of people who would get down at Shialda station from the train and would continue to Armenian Ghat, Bolbazar, Armenian Ghat, and on to Howrah via ferry for business needs. They need to sell their goods, so they used to carry them. So to help them, the tram was conceptualized, and it also touched the office areas of Dalhousie, BBD, now known as BBD Work. So it also helped the office goers as well. So it was how it was conceptualized, and trams were there in London, and Calcutta's trams were planned on the way the London trams.
So, what is the history of tram?
So the history goes like that. The route was resumed in 1881 and it continues to run even today. The after Shialda to Armenian Ghat, many more routes were opened. The second route to open was up to Esplanade to Kalighat via Chaurangi, and like that tram spread like a spider web in the city of Kolkata. Many important organizations, many important places were centered around the tram network because people could easily connect to it. Now, the first now the tram was in 1885. Tram tracks were laid up to Khidirpur, and that was the first steam-driven trams.
Okay, sir. As we all know, that tram played a major role as a mode of transport. But as we are seeing, it is decreasing day by day. So, why is tram losing its popularity these days?
See, the way the tram network was planned, it was planned as the main transport inside the city. Now, after the steam drawn trams were not very popular because they half and puff smoke in the neighborhood areas. People used to live there. It was very noisy, so people didn't like that. So in 1902, the first electric tram ran from Esplanade to Khidirpur, and from 1905, all the routes were in Kolkata were running in electric. Then, uh, according to some were tram only roads, and in some roads, in wider roads mainly, in the divider median, there was a large grass patch where the tracks were laid and the trams ran without any difficulty. Its tracks were not infringed by any car or any other vehicle, so it ran as it ran. It had speed. People used to prefer trams for their travel. The decline started in 1870s after certain routes were closed due to construction of metro, like the Chorangi route from Hajra to uh, Birla Planetarium was closed down to facilitate the construction of metro with the promise to resume the route, but it never happened. Trams used to ply in that period. Trams used to ply till Birla Planetarium, but in 1992 that was also closed. For the construction of metro, the tram lines on Benting Street were closed from Lal Bazar to Dharmtala Mode. So that was also not resumed. Then, like that, slowly the routes began to close down. Only two developments were made in this period. One was the acquire of new trams because old wooden trams were getting very old and they needed heavy maintenance. So new iron body trams which run today uh, were bought from the money by World Bank. And the second was expansion of trams in from Maniktala to Ultadanga and from Behala to Joka. But Behala to Joka is no more operational, and rest the Ultadanga route is also temporarily suspended. Like that, they fell into decline, and no new drivers were recruited after 1990s. Early 1990s, they were last recruited. After that, no new drivers were recruited. So as a result, the number of drivers are keeping on decreasing as the drivers are retiring. No new drivers are coming to replace them. So the service has become very irregular. And after Amphan, after the Amphan and the collapse of Majerat Beach, many routes were closed. The official reason was traffic problems, and they were closed temporarily. Not the closure was not permanent. The closure was temporary, but they haven't been resumed till now, so we can assume that they are closed. And and currently only three routes are operational. One is Gadiahat to Esplanade, route number 25, route number 5 Shambayat to Esplanade, and Taliganj to Balinganj, route number 24 by 21. Another thing is that the median divider which I was talking about, which with grass patches, which has tracks on them, in early 2000 they were removed to increase the road space and the tracks were aligned with the road. So now what happens? Two things. One is the tram in wide roads goes to the middle of the road and it becomes very difficult for the commuters to cross the road, dodging all other incoming cars, buses, and trucks and get on the tram. And secondly, other vehicles increase the spaces of the trams. Sometimes there are cars parked on tram tracks, uh, and then when cars when they turn or take a U-turn, they usually wait for the signal by standing on the tram track. So I have seen 6 to 7 trams standing in a queue because a car was parked. So this is the condition. Now it can be improved. There are ways to improve, but no one wants to improve this.
Okay, so one more question. From the side of a common man, would you like to give some ideas or some suggestions? So, how to improve the current situation of tram?
Yes, definitely. So when the tracks were de-reserved, uh, tracks in the wide roads were de-reserved, they were just roads were built upon the tracks, and the tram tracks and the roads were in the same surface, so cars come and hinder. So what can be done? We can barricade those tram tracks and keep openings for people to get on and get off at stoppages. So that way the other vehicles won't interfere in the movement of the trams, and people also can get on and off a tram very easily and safely. That is one, and another one is recruitment of drivers is very important in these stages. It is also conducting drivers and conductors. As we saw that a conductor had to be called from his home for duty because there was no conductor to drive to for the tram.
Tram.
So it is a problem. So recruitment is absolute necessary, and the resuming of old routes which were suspended temporarily. The tracks are there, the poles are there, only wires need to be installed. That's it. And the tracks need to be cleaned.
So, one more question. Like as you said, there's a communication gap. for the because many people don't know that when the trams are coming. So I think that can be done so that people are
Yes,
aware.
trams can be made to run in a timetable. A timetable can be formed, or else what we can do, we can maintain a frequency, and we have to maintain that. Like a 15-minute frequency or 10-minute frequency, that needs to be maintained. More than the timetable, the frequency needs to be maintained. So that is very important here, and as there are no drivers, very less drivers, so the frequency is very erratic. That's the reason there is a communication gap, and people don't know when the next tram will come.
Yeah, absolutely, sir. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, sir,
Thank you.
for providing us such information.
My pleasure.
Thank you, sir.
This was set up in a place which used to be a part of the Vadiyahat tram depot. The tram depot is just beside it. This part also used to be inside the depot, and trams used to be maintained there. But now, in 2020 October, a plan was conceived for a unique tram museum in Kolkata, where this area was converted into a sort of like a museum to accommodate, to help, to make us see what it is like in, in the tram. As trams are dwindling day by day, they are decreasing day by day. So these machines were inside Nonapur workshop of Calcutta Tramways, where all the maintenance related works of the tracks, trams, overhead equipment, etc. are carried out. These machines are all British era machines dating back to 1910, 1920, even as back as 1895. FW2 means flat wagon 2, the second tram of the series flat wagon. This tram was used to carry materials and tracks for maintenance related work. This is a work car. Now this is a Sundari class tram from 1970. The unique thing about this tram is that this tram was used for the shooting of the Hindi film Detective Bomkesh Bokshi. So these are all, these trams were previously used to carry passengers, but now they are used only for this as a showpiece. There are galleries inside these trams. So this one tram is for the Australian gallery. It was originally manufactured as iron body tram in 1982, but later converted to a fiber body tram in 2008. This is how it looks like. This is how the iron body trams look like. They are still on the road. This is a little battered due to an accident, so it has been kept there. This is a Sundari class single body tram from 1975, and the main thing about this is this was previously known as Bahajati. It was rolled out to commemorate 50 years of Indian independence. Let's come inside. So this is a hand drilling machine. It is used to perform drilling work before electric drilling machines were there. And this is the Kolkata gallery. You can see different pictures from the Kolkata trams here. These are models of trams. This is a model of iron K-class tram from 1930s. This is a modified wooden body tram. And this used to be signal lamp for the trams. When in its heydays, when there used to be many trams departing from a terminal or a depot simultaneously, this used to signal the trams to go in a certain direction. These lamps. This is a Calcutta Tramways Company badge. It used to be worn in the hand, and these are the official pens which were issued to the employees. This controller was first conceptualized by Dicker and Company of London, so this is also known as a Dicker system. This is manufactured by English Electric Company in Preston Electric Works, and this Dicker system, and it is pre-independence era. This is from pre-independence era, and this is still used today. This type of controller is still used today. So this is a controller used for driving the trams. Here are markings for gear and here are markings for brake. This is actually a key, and it needs a certain special key to drive, which is this one. So I will just insert this key and I will make it in the on position. If it was in the off position, it will not work. But now in the on position, I can drive a tram. This is first gear, second gear, third gear, fourth gear, fifth gear, sixth gear, seventh gear, and this is eighth gear, and this is release. You may know that a poet named Jivanananda Das, who was regarded the second greatest poet in Bengal after Rabindranath Tagore, died by a tram. He was just crossing the road when a tram hit him and he died on the spot in 1956. So, as a tribute to him, a tram was later modified and given the name Bonolata by his famous character of Bonolata Sen in one of his poems, and this was run as charter special in certain occasions. Now this tram has been renamed to Patrani, and this one is that. This tram has been decorated by the means of part or jute, and this is now run as special tram in certain occasions.
নমস্কার দাদা,
নমস্কার।
আপনার নামটা একটু বলবেন?
নামটা
হ্যাঁ, আপনার নামটা।
আপনার নামটা
আপনার নাম।
ঠিক আছে, বলছি আমি রঞ্জন কুমার।
আচ্ছা,
আপনি এখানে কত বছর ধরে রিক্সাটা
28 বছর।
28 বছর।
দাদা আপনি আমাদের কলকাতায় এই রিক্সার মধ্যে কি পরিবর্তন দেখছেন? আগে আরও বেশি চলতো, এখন একটু কমেছে, এই ব্যাপারে আপনি কি বলতে চান?
এখন তো একটু একটু চলছে, বাজার নেই তো একটু একটু রিক্সা চলছে,
কিন্তু খুবই কম।
তাতে আপনাদের পারিবারিকও তো কিছু সমস্যা দেখা যায় না?
বাড়ি তো আমার বিহারে আছে।
হ্যাঁ, কিন্তু আর্থিকভাবে আপনাদের তো অসুবিধে হয় না?
অসুবিধা তো হয় আছে।
আর দাদা আপনাদের জীবনযাপনেও তো তাহলে প্রভাব পড়ে।
করোনার সময় আপনাদের তো অনেক সমস্যা দেখা যায়।
ও তো বিহার দিকে আমি থাকলাম, চাষবাস ছিল, ওইখানে খাটে খায়। খাটে খায়।
তাহলে করোনার সময় যে এই রিক্সা পুরো বন্ধ ছিল, তখন তো আপনাদের খুবই অসুবিধা হয়েছে, খুবই অসুবিধার মুখোমুখি হতে হয়েছে আপনাকে। তাহলে তারপরে আপনারা কি মিউনিসিপ্যাল কর্পোরেশন থেকে কোনো রকম সাহায্য পেয়েছেন?
বা সরকার কোনোভাবে কি আপনাদের সাহায্য করেছে?
কোনো রকম স্কিম?
রাশন ফাশন
কিছু না। তাহলে এই যে রিক্সার নাম্বারটা, রিক্সা যে আরো কমে যাচ্ছে দিনে দিনে, তার জন্য যে আপনাদের লোকজন রিক্সার উপর উঠছেই না, এখন গাড়ি ঘোড়া এইসবে সবাই যাচ্ছে।
এখন বাজার হচ্ছে না, রিক্সা যেন কোনো উঠতে পারে না, করোনা জানে।
তাহলে আপনাদের খুবই অসুবিধা হচ্ছে।
খুবই অসুবিধা হচ্ছে।
তাহলে আপনি সরকারের থেকে কোনো সাহায্যের আশা নিশ্চয়ই করেন, তো আপনাদের কথা
করবো, আমার সরকার কিছু করতে পারবে? जब গ্রামের লোক না করবে, সেই জন্য লোক না করে তো আমার জন্য বললে সরকার কিছু করবে? ও আবার চল তুমি চলে যা, ভাগে যা।
আচ্ছা, ঠিক আছে, ধন্যবাদ।
ধন্যবাদ।
We, the students of IHM Kolkata, had a wonderful experience doing this project called the Lost Transport of Kolkata. It was not only a magnificent experience, but also an enlightening one, concerning the transport system of the city, which is close to extinction. We heartily thank our college and our principal, Mr. Nishi Srivastava, and our mentor, Mr. Alek Adhikari, for providing us with this opportunity. We would also like to express our gratitude to Mr. Shaurav Basu for being with us throughout the tour and acquainting us with the minute details concerning the topic. Thank you.